Hey, Bublynn, coming in, crushing this. All right, we have an exciting video because now that if you watched my previous two videos, we understand 1, 2, and 3 as like a trinity, right? We understand the three because something we have to note is each time we talk about a factor or a group of numbers, we have to look at that within itself. This is why the month numerology is kind of fucked up, because months don't have a standard amount of days, right? Whereas if we start getting into degrees in the zodiac, we can actually start to develop a system off that, because 30 degrees we know is 5 by 3 by 2, right? And so now that that's consistent, once we understand the 2, once we understand the 3, and once we understand the 5, we'll be able to put them all together and see what each degree means mathematically. But, and like elementally, fractally, right? I haven't quite wrapped my head around the 5, this besides the point, but I'm working on it, right? So, now that we understand, as I was saying, the 3 and the 4, we can put them together and we'll see the elemental order in the zodiac emerge. Let me show you. So here is representing cardinal placements. I have it right here, cardinal placements, right? This whole line represents cardinal placements, right? And then the middle line represents fixed placements, right? And then the mutable, or this last blue line, represents mutable placements. And now over here, I did the opposite thing where we have the elements, right? This line represents fire, red. This line represents water, green. This line represents air, yellow. It's a little hard to see. And then this line represents earth, purple. So what I did is basically I wrote in the 3 the elements, right? So we see fire, water, air, earth. Fire, water, air, earth. Fire, water, air, earth. And like I already explained to you why that is that order. And we have that over here. So what we end up seeing emerge is the actual zodiacal pattern, because we have 36 numbers. So each of these numbers is 10 degrees, right? 10, aka 1, or correlated to mathematics, right? Each of these are 10 degrees. And so this would make up a sign, because this is 3 decans, a classical sign, aka one of the zodiacal signs. So now look at this order. Like I was telling you, fire, earth, air, water. And now what we also see in common is the placements, so, or the realms, right? Because we see that 1 is in the cardinal realm, 4 is in the fixed realm, and 7 is in the mutable realm. And we'll see each of these add up to either 1, 4, or 7. Because we're going by 3, and the numbers revolve around 9, it'll correlate it. So it's just so interesting. So like I said, once we understand the 3 and the 4, we'll understand why the elements in the zodiac are what they are. So like I was telling you, we have fire, earth, air, water, 1, 4, 7, 10. And when we find that, we find Aries, right? Cardinal earth, right? Taurus, fixed, or no, cardinal fire, I'm so sorry. And then we have Taurus, fixed earth, right? 4, Gemini, mutable air, right? And like I said, I'll go back. 1, 2, and 3, cardinal realm, right? And then 1, like we see over here, is fire, right? And now if we go to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, fixed realm. And then we look over here, 4 is in this earth column, right? It's an earth element. And then we go to 7, 8, 9, mutable realm, right? And 7 is an air element, right? In this third column right here. So the interesting thing about this is, because this is aligned by 3, something to note, these are all cardinal placements, because we're not looking necessarily for the modality. Because numbers revolve around 9, we'll see that in the realm, but it's when we look over here, we're looking for the element, because this is a modal structure. So in the modal structure, we see the elements emerge. Whereas in the elemental structure, we'll see the modalities emerge. And this is actually the 9 numbers, and the 9 numbers are actually embedded in the zodiac, but 4 decans apiece. And it makes a lot of sense once we think about it. But yeah, like going forward, right? Like 10 is in the 1, 2, and 3. If we do like geometric reduction, right, it would be 1. So it'd be cardinal. And then like we look over here, 10 is in the water column. So we find Cancer, right? And we can do this all the way through. And we'll see that these numbers correlate to the zodiac. So this is how we get the zodiacal pattern. It's pretty marvelous. So there's one other thing I want to show you. Like I said, in the modal structure, we find the elements, right? So that means in the elemental structure, we find the modalities. But these are each 40 degrees. So what does that mean? We have 9 signs. So this actually means, I don't want to call it a zodiac necessarily because it's not a cycle of animals, but like even the zodiac is just utilizing that animal term and a term to describe nature. So it is still another zodiac. But what this actually emerges is the 9 numbers. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then what we'll see is it will declare the placements of modality, right? 1 is cardinal, 2 is fixed, 3 is mutable, red, green, blue. And we can see that right here. Once we align the elements, we'll start seeing that pattern. Cardinal, fixed, mutable, red, green, blue. Cardinal, fixed, mutable, red, green, blue. Cardinal, fixed, mutable, red, green, blue. And the interesting thing is this actually creates a backwards kind of star, right? If we do geometric reduction, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. So it's a very interesting pattern. But either way, you'll start seeing me working with a chart that looks like this. I don't have it on me right now, but you'll see me working with a chart that looks like this, and I'll express like how to work with this as well, because this is actually written in the zodiac. And the interesting thing about it is, if we look at it, we'll notice that the real, aka the earth and the air, always fall within a sort of fixed segment, right? The realizers, right? And then we see fixed, fixed, fixed. And they fall right where the earth and the air signs fall, right? Whereas the cardinal, or the personalized, or the dry, falls always in between the fire and the earth, right? And then the mutable, or the receptive, always falls mostly water, but a little bit of air. Just like the cardinal is mostly fire with a little bit of earth. So it's very interesting. So I just wanted to declare that, like, why the sort of patterns in the zodiac are what they are, how we can calculate them just by understanding the 3 and the 4. So that's just marvelous, because I always ask myself why. And to me, just assuming it makes sense doesn't make sense. And once I finally got an understanding, a comprehensive understanding of why the 4 is the 4 and why the 3 is the 3 in a sort of symbolic way, I was finally able to discover this pattern. So I'll be working with this and this numerological structure. This is how I develop the magic squares. This is how I understand numerology, because the thing about numbers is they're based around 9, okay? And so 9 is 3 by 3, so we can only understand modality through numbers. So if we're geometrically reducing something or just adding the numbers together, this is actually just telling you where it is on the dial of 9. Like, for example, 10, the easiest one to think of is 1, right? Because we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And then we start over 10, right? It's 1, right? And then we could keep going, but it's basically a dial of 9, and 0 will always subtract 1 each time you move a place up, such that when you reduce things geometrically, you're actually looking at where it is on the dial of 9, and that's why it makes sense, and that's why it works. But what the 9 is it's modal, right? And I'll bring up the chart of how we can sort of interpret all the different modalities, because there are 3 different sects really in the modal chart, or in the 9 numbers. We have the purities, we have the fixities, and then we have the paths. And I'll do a video on that too. But yeah, that'll come up later. But either way, yeah. So the thing about the 9 numbers is they don't have an elemental expression. But then once you start to understand, okay, like over here, well, now if I look at it, each one of these goes through 1 by 9. Like perfectly. Like, look at this. 1, 2, like I said, this pattern goes backwards and loops around. You can do the gematria with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now fire has each 9 numbers, right? We can go to water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And you can do the rest by yourself. But it's like once we completely understand this, then we can actually start attributing meaning to mathematical numbers and see the symbolic nature of them. And that's what I wanted. And that's what I discovered, right? So, yeah, so it's just so amazing because I always wanted to understand how to utilize numbers. So basically, numbers are on a base 9 system. And so that's why geometric reduction works. Whereas elements are going to be on a base 4 system. So I'll give you tips and tricks and how to easily decode what element a number is as we go on. But if you want an easy understanding, if it's within 1 to 36, you can just look at the charts. Or if it's not, you can always remainder 36. It's kind of a tough calculation. I have like a calculator for it on my phone that will just like be like, oh, we put in like 56, right? And it'll be like remainder 36, 20, right? And you'll be like, oh, what is 20? And then you'll be like, oh, it's water, you know what I mean? And so that'll give you that. And then if you like do 56 and then you do 5 plus 6, it's 11, right? Which is 2. Right? And so you'll be like, oh yeah, 20 and like 56, they have that correlation. But then they also have the elemental correlation. And like I said, I'll bring more information on how to break that down as time goes on. But yeah, so we discovered how the zodiacal pattern elementally came about by combining the 3 and the 4. And like I said, the amazing thing about this is we discovered another zodiac. Like, we did it. There is the 9 sigils of numerology are written in the zodiac. People just aren't utilizing it, but it's there. Like, it's there just as much because the zodiac is a fractal thing. So it's there just as much as the 3 decans. The 3, right, create an element. The 3 decans create an element. It's just the same as 4 decans create a mode, right? And so, yeah, great understandings. Let's keep them up. Let's keep it going. Hey, Bublynn, Sitra, Beach.